So it has been reported that Barcelona is not going to be making any signings in the January transfer window. This is not really a surprise, even though we have heard that Mateo Alemán and Xavi Hernández have had multiple meetings basically discussing what could they do in this January transfer window to strengthen this squad overall. But now the conclusion is here. There has been many sources, many reports stating that Xavi Hernández does not mind Barcelona not signing any players because, again, that is the situation. Barcelona cannot really do so. And if they want certain players, it's really expensive. So most likely they're probably like, okay, look, like the players that we want to like come in and to strengthen our squad, they're pretty expensive. We can't really afford them now in the January transfer window. So let's reserve our money and let's go in full force in the summer of 2023. So that is the conclusion, right? Is that there is no signature that will be needed according to these people that work within the board. No signatures at all, no new players, no nothing, which is the main reason why I do want to make this video. I want to talk about, okay, if there's not going to be any new arrivals, if we're not going to be making any signings, what could that Barcelona starting 11 look like? Has anything changed? And especially with the World Cup completely wrapped up, has there been certain players within this Barcelona squad that really outperformed themselves in the World Cup that makes us change our starting 11? So it is going to be a very interesting video, and you guys are going to be surprised on just how exactly how this starting 11 will look, because you would assume that because this certain player had a great performance at the World Cup, you know, that would allow him to see more minutes under Xavi Hernández. But again, we're going to be discussing all of this within today's video. But before we go into any of this, I do want to speak about our sponsor for today, which will be the OneFootball app. If you guys want to find out where I do get my stats on certain players, like what we're going to be discussing for today's video, or if you want to find out what's currently going on with your favorite player, your favorite team, any transfer news, anything regarding the world of football, the OneFootball app is going to be there to cover for you immediately and live on your phone on whatever you do desire, and it is for free. If you do want to download the OneFootball app, you can so by scanning the QR code that you do see here on the screen, and there's also going to be a link down below that'll take you straight to the App Store. You download the OneFootball app, set exactly who and what you do want to follow, and then you'll be set and done from there. Again, it is for free. It's very entertaining. It's very informative. You will be notified, again, with anything you do want to follow, whether it's Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Manchester City, maybe even a certain player like Lionel Messi, Kylian Mbappe, Neymar Jr., Lewandowski. Again, anything, the OneFootball app does have that covered for you. But now, let's go back into this video and let's talk about this situation, because like I have said, they're not going to be making no signings. Barcelona is not going to be making any signings at all, and they're going to be saving their funds for the summer, and then to have that maximum reinforcement in the summer and have a great 2023-2024 starting 11. So let's start with the goalkeeper. Has anything changed? Is there any competitor to Marc-Andre ter Stegen? No, I don't think so. I know that we have just talked about Iñaki Peña and how his renewal is coming very close. I still don't think that anything has really happened for both Iñaki Peña and Marc-Andre ter Stegen, which makes me believe that the situation is the exact same thing. Ter Stegen will be starting. Iñaki Peña will be that player to back up Ter Stegen, which is a great backup goalkeeper. But again, it will be Ter Stegen to captain that back line. As for the right back position, assuming that we're going to be having a 4-man defensive line, and I know that it does change into a 3-4-3 and different formations, but let's just assume, just for the sake of this video and in the simplicity of this video, let's talk about the back four. The right back for the back four is going to be Jules Koundé. He is a staple to both France and also FC Barcelona. I think that, yes, there is a debate that is going on whether Koundé should be playing in the right back position or in the center back position with Ronald Araujo, but I do believe that he will be playing as a right back. He has everything in the world to be starting under Xavi Hernández. There is no replacement. There is no better option. Yes, I understand that Koundé may have had a bad final according to some people in the way they viewed that final, but I don't think that he played bad at all. I just think that Argentina were much more superior. It was Di Maria versus Koundé, and there's nothing that Koundé could do about it. Di Maria was on the game of his life. Every player in that Argentinian squad was on the game of their lives. Mac Allister to De Paul to Messi to Julian Alvarez. So it makes sense for Koundé to perform like that. It does not mean that Koundé cannot perform at a final for FC Barcelona. It's just that Argentina were just much more superior. We can even talk about tactically, Scaloni has outclassed this champs in this game. So It's not Koundé's fault. Koundé is still a great right back that many of us do trust, and I think that he's going to be taking this experience on what he did in this World Cup and bring it to FC Barcelona and really succeed as a right back. We move on towards the center back positions, and I think that it will be Ronald Araujo and also Christensen, two center backs that Xavi Hernández really does trust. Nothing has changed regarding these two positions. Yes, we have Eric Garcia, a great backup, but I think that it will come down to Christensen and Ronald Araujo. Christensen did play the most out of Eric Garcia and Ronald Araujo, and Denmark came out early. We expected Denmark to come out with so much superiority in this World Cup campaign, but they did not do so. We thought that they were going to be like a dark horse, but no, Denmark came out early. I hope that this does not affect Christensen at all. And so, but the thing is that Christensen came out early and now he's more refreshed. He had way more rest, and the same thing came with Ronald Araujo. I don't even think he played in this World Cup, and I think that he will also come in very refreshed. Barcelona even gave Araujo a mental break to really just relax, right? To really just rest, because throughout these past 4 to 5 weeks, Araujo was really trying to maximize his time by trying to fast forward his process, get through this injury, and represent Uruguay in the World Cup, but it did not end up happening. And because of all that stress, because of all that, being so agitated to be in that squad, they gave Ronald Araujo a mental break. And the same thing, probably went on with Christensen. So these two center backs will be locked and ready in that back line. We move on towards the left back position, and this is where things get very interesting. Now, let's stick on here just for a second, because we have two very good left backs. I know that sounds very strange, but we have two really good left backs, and we're very fortunate to say that we do have that. And that is Alejandro Balde and Jordi Alba. Going into this World Cup, when we started, we're like, Alejandro Balde is the superior one. He is going to be starting for FC Barcelona. Luis Enrique trusts this player. Thank you to Gaia for getting injured, because Balde is now in this World Cup squad. That was like the whole idea. That was the whole attitude about Balde before we went into this World Cup. Balde has all the technicality in the world. He's fast. He knows how to dribble. He knows how to come out in difficult situations when they're facing against a very tough opponent. Balde is one of the protagonists. But I don't know, is it just me, right? Is it just me? I really want to clarify this with you guys, but why do I feel like Jordi Alba is going back to his prime? Like, he made a very strong case on why he should be starting under Xavi Hernández because of what he did in this World Cup. He had a very strong performance, especially bringing out assist against Costa Rica, bringing out an assist against Germany, having a solid performance against Morocco. Jordi Alba did so well. And because Jordi Alba is better, we see a Jordi Alba that's much more lethal in the final third, which makes a lot of Barcelona fans happy, because that gives us another weapon. And Luis Enrique was so proud of Jordi Alba. Right? One of the reasons why Spain played so well, it is because of Jordi Alba. And so why not bring that to FC Barcelona? And again, I'm not trying to tell you guys that Jordi Alba is better than Alejandro Balde. I'm not saying that. It's just that right now Jordi Alba is in, I would say, better form mentally and physically. I would also give room for error for Alejandro Balde, because Alejandro Balde did play against Japan. He had a very poor performance. One of the reasons why Japan even came back and 1-1 against Spain, it is because Alejandro Balde did one of those mistakes. But again, I want to give this player room for error, because it was his first World Cup. It was his first appearance for the Spanish national team. We did not really expect a lot coming from Alejandro Balde. And so we look at that, right? We look at the experience that Jordi Alba was carrying, the experience that Alejandro Balde was carrying. It does make sense overall for Jordi Alba to play better than Alejandro Balde, unfortunately, right? Because we wanted to see Balde go into this World Cup and really give it his all and maybe become the golden boy of the tournament. But, we can only dream so much, right? I think that right now, at the moment, I still believe, even though Jordi Alba is in better form physically and mentally compared to Alejandro Balde, I still believe that Alejandro Balde will be starting under Xavi Hernández with Christensen and with Ronald Araujo and Jules Koundé. But I do also think that Jordi Alba will be seeing way more minutes in the second half of the season. We will see that for sure, because of what he has been doing, and he does deserve it. So we move on towards the midfield, and we talk about the central defensive midfield position. Again, nothing has changed. It is going to be Sergio Busquets. As a matter of fact, it does say here, according to Relevo, that Barcelona and Sergio Busquets are talking about a 6-month renewal until the end of 2023, right? This is according to Relevo, which is crazy, right? There is plans for Sergio Busquets to have continuity with FC Barcelona. Yes, he has retired with the international team, but that is a good thing for many of us Barcelona fans, because we know that it is official. Busquets is going to be having much more time, and he's going to be saving his energy way more than ever before to really focus on just FC Barcelona. All his time, all his energy will be going to that club. So I have no problem with this player staying and having continuity and even starting. But here's where I do have my problem when it comes to this position, is the fact that, yes, I'm okay with Busquets staying, but why are we not building the next central defensive midfielder after Busquets does leave? That is the biggest problem that I do have, is the fact that we haven't really found a replacement for Busquets. Not even we haven't even started. We don't have a player that we can say, okay, this player is not ready yet, but he will eventually replace Sergio Busquets. We don't have that. We can say it's Nico, we can say it's Frankie de Jong, but are we confident on really saying that these are two players who could potentially replace Busquets for the next 10 years, right? So, when it comes to Frankie de Jong, he's a great player. A phenomenal player, a player that has just said that he is committed to staying with FC Barcelona for the next 10 to 11 years. He wants to be here for a long time. He's not going to be going to Manchester United, right? So he's a great player, a player that we will have for a very long time, but he's good when he is in the double pivot position, right? That is it. He can't play as a lone pivot under Xavi Hernández. Now, things could change in the second half of the season. We can see this player really have a great second half of the season and play as a pivot and prove us all wrong, but at the moment that is not the case. So, and there's no signs of Xavi Hernández even saying we're going to be playing a double pivot with Nico Gonzalez and Frankie de Jong in those two positions. I don't see that happening. It just doesn't make any sense, because with that you also take away the mixture of Gavi and Pedri playing together, and we're barely even going to see them. You can say that, oh, we could just put Pedri on the left wing position and Gavi in the central attacking midfield position, but where is players like Lewandowski, Dembele, Ansu Fati, Ferran going to go, right? It just doesn't make any sense. So we are going to be continuing with Busquets in the 11 for the second half of the season. As for our two interiors, it is only going to be Gavi and Pedri. They have been exceptional. They rarely do disappoint. They're, if Barcelona want to have something close to Xavi and Iniesta, you start these two and you add emphasis on these two players. And Xavi Hernández does know this. He knows that Gavi and Pedri are the future of this midfield. And even Iniesta and Xavi Hernández, at Pedri and Gavi's age, they were not as good as those two players, which is crazy to even say. Now, I'm not saying that Gavi and Pedri are going to be at the level of Iniesta and Xavi, but it's just, Gavi and Pedri already do have a head start over these two legends. And I hope that these two players don't feel down and they're not disappointed in themselves because of what happened in the World Cup and how early they have exited, because they were expected to, at the very least, get into the semifinals of this World Cup with Brazil, with Argentina, or maybe with France, maybe with Germany. But, even with just a slight drop in level regarding Gavi or Pedri, most likely with Gavi because Pedri is almost untouchable with Barcelona, but even overall, right, a slight drop in level with any of these two players, they're going to be replaced easily by Frankie de Jong. Frankie de Jong is the player that is the one that can take either of Pedri and Gavi's position with no problem, because of what Frankie is and his level and what he could do in the final third. So we move on towards the right wing position, and we will be seeing Dembele starting on the right wing position. Again, another difficult choice, because we are comparing Dembele to Rafinha. It's very similar to how we compare Jordi Alba and Alejandro Balde. If you were to ask me, who do you think played better in the World Cup? I would say it's even. Why is it even, right? Why would you would question me, why, Kevin? Why would Dembele and Rafinha be even when Dembele went into the final and Rafinha came out early? Well, Rafinha played better than Dembele in this World Cup, regardless if Dembele has better numbers. Rafinha has played better, but Dembele also went further into the final of this World Cup, which is why I do say it's even. Rafinha was very impactful for Brazil. Dembele, I think that has shown he needs to work a lot on the defensive side of things. That final, and you and me know this. We know this. I say this a lot because you and me watch the same thing. We watch the same games. We watch the exact same players. You know this. One of the reasons why Argentina had so much opportunity on that left side, on France's right side also, it is because Argentina knew that Dembele could not defend, and Dembele defensively against Argentina was bad. It was bad. And if he defends like that with FC Barcelona, and Barcelona is in a semifinal match or in a final match it'll be only red alarms for FC Barcelona. It would be really, really bad. And you know that one of the biggest ways to fix that would be, we would be praying to have Rafinha on that right side in case we're ever in those positions. Rafinha, for me, is considered as a warrior on the field defensively, because he knows how to hustle. Like, again, you and me know this. We have seen Rafinha in the past 4 to 5 months for both the country and for the club, is that defensively, he knows how to track back and he knows how to regain the ball back. That, Rafinha had an amazing game against Bayern Munich. An amazing game defensively. Rafinha has gained so much respect. I think that I know that I'm kind of like overpraising Rafinha over Dembele, but again, one of the reasons why I still think that Dembele will be over Rafinha and will be starting is because the places that Dembele could go to in the final third and what he does in the attack, it resonates with Xavi Hernández so much more. I just strongly believe that we need to work with Dembele and work on his defensive skills, because one of the reasons why we have been so afraid with commanding and demanding for Dembele to track back and to go out there and to defend is because we were afraid of him getting injured again, right? We felt that way, and we felt like yes, one of the coaching staffs are telling Dembele to like not really run and track back. And when he did first return, he did not really do a lot of defensive work. But now, because he looks healthier, because he does not look like he will encounter any injury anytime soon, it's now time for us to demand this player to defend better and to understand what you need to do defensively. So we move on towards the striker position, and it is only going to be Lewandowski. There is no debate. I'm going to make this one very quick. It is only Lewandowski. There is no other player. We move on towards the left wing position, and it will be Ansu Fati. I think that the world still believes in this player. There is, again, another strong debate on this left side because of Ferran Torres. Ferran Torres has been an amazing player. He had more minutes, more goals than Ansu Fati in the World Cup, but Xavi Hernández is a coach that has shown that he does really prefer having a left winger that has instinct for goal. And he prefers players like that, even though Ansu Fati is less superior to Ferran Torres in terms of like off the ball movement. I still think that Xavi Hernández is looking for that player that is more Eto'o, like, Eto'o, the one that played for FC Barcelona about 12 to 13 years ago. Xavi Hernández has also said a couple of days ago that Ansu Fati will be very important for us in the next 6 months. So I understand why you would say no, Ferran Torres deserves it. He has shown that with the Spanish national team. Well, look, like I've said, the reason why Ferran Torres has been playing more minutes under Luis Enrique compared to Ansu Fati is because Ferran Torres has worked with Luis Enrique way more. Ansu Fati was left out in it for a couple of games. When Luis Enrique was calling his Spanish national team for some friendlies, or I believe it was the World Cup qualifiers. I forgot when was that time, but it was about 5-7 months ago, where Luis Enrique says, I'm not going to be calling up Ansu Fati and I'm going to be working with Ferran Torres, which is the reason why Luis Enrique opted for starting and giving more minutes towards Ferran Torres, because he has worked with the coach way more than Ansu Fati. So, but like I've said, I think that Xavi Hernández will be preferring Ansu Fati in that left wing position. So that is it, right? That is going to be the starting 11 that most likely we will be seeing. No changes, no new players. It's just we will be seeing, I think, a much more lethal starting 11, a more focused group of players. So it will be Ter Stegen, right back position Koundé, center back position Christensen, and Ronald Araujo. The left back will be Alejandro Balde, our midfield being Busquets, Gavi, and Pedri, and our front three being Dembele, Lewandowski as the striker, and Ansu Fati as the left winger. So that will be wrapping up today's video, and I will see you guys in the next one.